10 missing celebrities that were never found. This, I mean, has got to be one of the worst things. Obviously, losing a loved one, a family member, you know, is a terrible, horrible thing. But then not even getting the chance to, like, say a final goodbye, you know, to bury them, it just makes it so much worse because you don't have the closure. You don't have that, you know, finality. You don't have somewhere to, like, visit if you want to talk to them, to lay flowers and stuff. So yeah, this has got to be pretty sad for the families. And why? Like, you know, although this must happen all the time, in the case of a celebrity, you know, you would think that they have, like, agents with them, people with them all the time. So like why?
One of this country's great mysteries began 75 years ago last summer as Americans learned that Amelia Earhart was missing.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we'll be looking at the most notable public figures who mysteriously disappeared and have never been heard from since.
No matter what happens, I would like for things to turn out for the best.
Jim Robinson. This Miami boxer is best remembered as one of Muhammad Ali's first professional opponents. On February 7, 1961, Robinson stepped in as a last-minute replacement after Ali's scheduled opponent failed to show. The bout ended swiftly, with Ali knocking him out about 90 seconds into the first round. While Ali's career soared afterwards, Robinson's fizzled out, and he retired 2 years later.
As you know, a lot of fighters, and the great fighters, sometimes later in life after they retired, have not ended up in the best financial condition at all, like Bo Jack, I think.
Right.
The great fighter is a shining shoes somewhere down in Florida, and it's happened to a great many fighters. You're not going to let that happen to you.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
But that's true, isn't it?
Yes.
His last known interview was with Sports Illustrated in 1979, where he reflected on facing Ali. Since then, no one has seen or heard from Robinson. His disappearance might have gone unnoticed if not for autograph collector Steven Singer, who managed to collect signatures from 49 of Ali's 50 opponents, but spent years unsuccessfully searching for Robinson.
What does this, having this film out now, mean to you in your life, at this time in your life?
It means people who don't really know much about me, it'll tell them more about who I am.
D.Y.
Man, what a legend, Muhammad Ali. I wonder what happened to Robinson. I mean, you know, it's well known that boxers, because of all the blows that they take to the head, they end up a lot of the time with CTE and, you know, mental issues. It could have been that maybe he had, like, a really bad episode, and who knows? I mean, this is the thing, like, we don't really have any clues to go off, but man, yeah, I hope that one day we sort of get some news. But I mean, it sounds like it's been a while since he went missing. I mean, it has been a while.
Born Forrest Schaub, Canadian rapper D.Y. was steadily rising in the music scene during the late 2000s.
Ooh, that's my spot. Oh, you like that, babe? Yeah, that's my spot. How you like it, babe? Ooh, that's my spot. Oh, you like that, babe? Yeah, that's my spot.
That is the most generic sounding pop music I've ever heard in my life.
February 2010, Billboard recognized him as one of Canada's best emerging artists. However, by November of that year, his family reported him missing. They hadn't seen him since August, when he mentioned plans to travel to Mexico. D.Y.'s last known activity was in September, with birthday wishes he sent out to a radio personality on Facebook and Twitter.
D.Y. actually stands for die young. A lot of people take it as negative. It's a metaphor for life being too short. Even if you die at 100, it's too young, so live every day like it's your last.
Rumors suggest that his disappearance may be tied to Mexican drug cartels, though it remains unclear if he ever made it to Mexico. D.Y., whose name stands for Die Young, had signed with CP Records in 2009, but his contract was terminated shortly before he vanished.
Ooh, that's my spot. Yeah, that's my spot.
Jim Sullivan.
I mean, I know we tried to sort of put a positive spin on that name, but Die Young, I can't help but find it quite a, you know, a morbid thing to call yourself as a music artist. Or what do you think? Do you see it more as a positive? I just can't see it.
1968, singer-songwriter Jim Sullivan left his native Nebraska for Los Angeles with his high school sweetheart Barbara, hoping to launch a successful music career. He released 2 albums, 1969's UFO and 1972's Jim Sullivan, but neither achieved the success he had hoped for.
Why can't I just roll back the time?
Eventually, his faltering career strained his marriage. Desperate for a fresh start, Sullivan set out for Nashville, but he mysteriously disappeared along the way. His car was found abandoned near a remote ranch outside Santa Rosa, New Mexico, with his guitar and unsold records still inside. Speculation about his fate has ranged from foul play to alien abduction, or perhaps that he wandered into the desert. Despite massive searches, no trace of Sullivan has ever been discovered.
Just great.
Joe Pichler.
What's the deal?
I mean, alien abduction, I really hope that aliens exist. I think they exist. I'm pretty sure they do, based on the amount of like stars and stuff like that. But why would an alien come to Earth and abduct some random person? I mean, what experimentate? Do you think? Do you believe that aliens, come to Earth and like do probing experiments and things like that? I just find it like ridiculous. Or what do you think? Let me know what you think. Like, if you can convince me, show me some convincing evidence, I'll believe it.
With these kids.
These are my people.
Your people.
My people.
My people.
Kyle, did you start a cult?
Yep.
That's so sweet.
After starting his career at the age of 4, Joe Pichler gained prominence as a child actor, with roles in Varsity Blues and the Beethoven film series. However, he stepped back from acting in 2003 to finish high school in his Washington hometown. After graduating in 2005, Pichler planned to return to LA the next year, but those plans were tragically cut short. On January 5th, 2006, after spending the evening with friends, Pichler left for home, but never arrived.
Just miles from his apartment, his family found his silver Toyota Corolla. It was parked in the back of a Bremerton Mexican restaurant on Sheridan Road and Wheaton Way.
Oh, man.
Police found a note buried in the car which contained poems and many troubling questions.
Has anything ever been the same?
His car was discovered days later with a note in which he expressed feelings of disappointment, but no clear intention of self-harm. Although authorities suspect Pichler may have ended his own life, his family remains hopeful that he will one day return.
Whether he walks through the door or he's carried to us, he has to come home.
Tammy Lynn Leppert.
Man, I feel so bad for the family, But I think in that case, I think we know what happened there. I think we know. But yeah, it's sad that they don't get that closure.
Tammy Lynn Leppert had it all. She was a beauty queen, an accomplished model, and was well on her way to a career in the movies. But in 1982, Tammy began to withdraw, growing increasingly paranoid, until finally she vanished.
The 1983 film Scarface remains a cinematic masterpiece, but one of its lesser-known cast members vanished before it even premiered. Tammy Lynn Leppert, a beauty queen and budding actress, appeared in 1983.
You want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend. Such a great movie. Oh my God, I've not watched it in years. Maybe I'll watch it at the weekend.
Scarface and Spring Break.
Maybe I'll react to it on the channel. Should I do a reaction to Scarface?
She was set to move to Hollywood later that year, but mysteriously disappeared on July 6th.
Tammy has already competed in more than 300 beauty contests. She has won the crown 280 times.
She was very loving, kind. She was always smiling. You never saw the child when she wasn't smiling. As young as I can remember, she woke up with a great big smile, and the last thing I saw before she went to sleep was a big smile.
The last person to see Leppert was a male friend who picked her up in Rockledge, Florida, but who left her at a parking lot after they argued. According to her mother, Leppert had shown erratic behavior shortly before her disappearance, seemingly afraid someone was trying to harm her.
And then she said, "Mom, what would you say if I told you somebody was trying to kill me?"
Since then, police have received calls from a woman claiming that Leppert is alive and pursuing a nursing career, but these claims remain unverified.
If I had it all to do over again, I would go back and I would believe every single word she told me, and I would just hide her someplace until we found out what the truth was. But I can't do it over. And maybe she had to hide on her own, I don't know.
Connie Converse.
Man, my heart breaks just hearing that. Because you can tell the mum is just like, she's just beating herself up. She's just thinking, why didn't I take her seriously? Why didn't I listen to her? Maybe she would still be here.
Considered a trailblazer of the singer-songwriter genre, Connie Converse's music went largely unrecognized during her lifetime. In the 1950s, Converse recorded a collection of introspective folk music in New York City, but her efforts to break into the music scene were futile.
One by one in the dark, we go walking out at night.
Disillusioned by her lack of success, she moved to Michigan in 1961, where she began working in academia. By the time she was 50, Converse was coping with depression and feelings of unfulfillment. In August 1974, she packed her belongings into her car, wrote farewell letters to her friends and family, and drove away, never to be seen again.
The letters I've seen all have one sort of thing in common, which in effect is her need to get away to a new place and a new start, and that's what she was headed for.
Her music was rediscovered after it was featured on a radio show in 2004, gaining her a cult following. Bison Dele.
Sounds like she's just gone to a new, maybe across the country, and, you know, she could be alive and well. Why she wouldn't communicate that with her family, though, I don't know. Maybe they're estranged, but yeah, she could still be alive.
Bison Dele was only in his early 30s when he accomplished something that most of us can only dream about. With $16 million of NBA money in his pocket, he decided to just sail away.
Between 1991 and 1999, Bison Dele had a solid NBA career, playing center for teams like the Orlando Magic and Chicago Bulls. But at age 30, Dele stunned everyone by deciding to retire early to travel the world. In July 2002, he set sail for Tahiti with his girlfriend, Serena Carlin, his brother, Miles DeBoard, and the boat's captain. However, only DeBoard returned.
Today, the 33-year-old former star is missing and at the center of a manhunt that stretches from the United States to Tahiti. Dele has disappeared along with his girlfriend, Serena Carlin. The couple has not been heard from in weeks.
2 months later, authorities arrested him after he forged his brother's signature and bought over $150,000 worth of gold under his name. It is believed that DeBoard killed all three individuals during a fight, although their bodies have never been found.
And he discovers that a big check for $152,000 has been cashed out of Bison's account.
Bison wasn't a person known to write checks. He used credit cards or cashier's checks.
DeBoard took the truth with him when he ended his life in September 2002 by overdosing on insulin.
I called Certified Man, and I said, there's something fishy going on. I don't believe that the Bison Dele that I know wrote that check out.
Richey Edwards.
Wow. I mean, obviously we don't know what happened here, but everything points to the fact that he unalived, you know, his brother's wife or fiance and the captain. I mean, man, to be capable of doing that, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. What for? Money? Jeez, man. That is just...
The guitarist and principal lyricist for Welsh rock band Manic Street Preachers, Richey Edwards, was known for his raw, politically charged songwriting.
And they're going, oh, you're still a punk band. And they're going, but how can you say that? Are they just like living in this safe little world?
Edwards openly dealt with depression and self-harm and channeled much of his inner pain into his music. On February 1st, 1995, just before the band's U.S. tour, Edwards checked out of a hotel in Wales and vanished. His car was later found abandoned near the Severn Bridge, where many people had ended their lives. This fueled speculation that Edwards had done the same, but no conclusive evidence was ever discovered.
So I appeal today, if anybody knows anything, to just come forward.
I know. Even if say he doesn't want, he's just maybe you never know. I'm sure you've been over all these scenarios in your mind as to what's happened from the very, very worst to the fact that he might just want to have disappeared.
Over the years, there have been reported sightings of Edwards in places like India and Israel, but none confirmed.
I mean,
in November 2008, he was declared legally dead.
It's not having that peace of mind. It's so difficult,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is.
And even if they just tell you, I'm all right, might not want to be found, but I'm okay.
That's right.
Sean Flynn, born to Hollywood.
I mean, if he was spotted in a place where people usually unalive themselves, I mean, the logical conclusion is that's what he did. You know, the sightings of him in Israel and other countries, that could easily be somebody else. Easily, couldn't it?
Hollywood legend Errol Flynn, Sean Flynn first followed in his father's footsteps, appearing in a string of films between 1960 and 1966.
I said, get off my place.
Your place?
You heard me. Beat it. This place is mine, and I'm used to giving orders around here.
He soon grew disillusioned with acting and tried his hand at various careers before finding his true calling in photojournalism. Flynn quickly developed a reputation for fearlessly embedding himself in dangerous combat zones to capture striking images of conflict.
Novak here.
We're sending you a team of specialists, Lieutenant. We'll take orders from them.
Right, Colonel. Now what about this refugee, sir?
Keep him under security until Major Finnegan gets there. Over and out.
Over and out.
On April 6, 1970, during the Vietnam War, Flynn and fellow photojournalist Dana Stone were last seen riding motorcycles towards a Viet Cong checkpoint in Cambodia. They were apparently captured by communist guerrillas, but their fate remains unknown. Some theories suggest they were executed by the Khmer Rouge, while others believe they may have died in captivity.
Both things were beyond my control, Major. But I take full responsibility for the consequences.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the Earhart.
She was a
Amelia Earhart.
She was a daredevil with the wings of an angel.
Right? Yeah.
A pioneer who embodied the pure romance of flying. But she embodied the danger of it, too. 75 years ago, Amelia Earhart climbed into her Lockheed Electra and with her navigator, Fred Noonan, disappeared somewhere over the Pacific.
This trailblazing...
I mean, this one sounds like it was a crash. That's what, I mean, that's my first instinct here.
Aviator made history by becoming the first woman to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic Ocean. This achievement catapulted Amelia Earhart into the spotlight, and she embraced her celebrity status, writing best-selling books, going on speaking tours, and even launching a female clothing line.
But Rick Gillespie thinks in her effort to find Howland, she stumbled on Nicomaroro instead and managed to make an emergency landing and then waited for the help that never came.
Always wanting to break new ground, Earhart set her sights on her most ambitious goal yet, becoming the first woman to circumnavigate the world. However, on July 2nd, 1937, while flying from Lae, New Guinea to Howland Island, Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, vanished over the Pacific Ocean.
Maybe the answer to this 75-year-old mystery is indeed just off that reef, resting in 1,000 feet of water.
Because the Pacific Ocean is huge. It's bigger than the Atlantic. They could quite easily have gone down, quite easily.
Although it is widely believed they ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean, no trace of the aircraft or their remains has ever been found.
I know what's coming, Mr. Dele. I've always known. But it doesn't matter.
Do you think there is still hope that any of these missing individuals will ever be found? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
It won't change what Earhart accomplished, but it could finally put her to rest.
I mean, yeah, I think in her case, you know, what she was trying to do hadn't been done at that point. It's 1937, so planes, you know, they were far less sophisticated than what we've got today. You know, like the capacity for fuel was probably much lower than what we have today. It just seems like a very logical, unfortunate, but like a logical thing that probably happened. It is sad, you know, for the families, isn't it? Like, because they just don't get, like I mentioned before, that chance to like properly say goodbye. That's the saddest part, isn't it? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.